What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. Today we have Josh. He's a Operations Supervisor for a meat plant. So let's explore his career and see what he has for us. What's going on, guys? Please join me in welcoming Josh here. Hi Josh, how you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's just get started with your background. You know, where you're from, where you're going.
Yeah, so I am from Philadelphia, born and raised until I guess 12, and then I moved to South Jersey for a few years. My dad had a job opportunity, so we lived in South Jersey from my sophomore year in high school till about my first year, I guess you could say, in college. Not much college for me, but
okay. Why
yeah,
not?
I lived in Glassboro, so
okay.
Rowan University was right across the street from me. College, why not?
Yeah.
It was, I feel like you hear this a lot where school wasn't really for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was more a hands-on guy, and there was a lot of things in school that I just look back and I'm why did I even take that year
right
to do this? I didn't use any of it. I probably could have used it better, but school just wasn't for me. We'll keep it like that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean,
yeah.
So when you were going into school, I am a big advocate of people not doing school if that's not for them. That being said, what I want to see is that what did you go into school for? What did you expect out of it? And how did you realize that it wasn't for you?
Yeah, so I remember 18, I got my first camera. And when I got the DSLR camera, I was hooked. I was oh, I want to be a photographer. That was my thing. I swore I was going to be the next big thing in church photography or just being able to go from place to place. I didn't care what it was. I wanted to take pictures. So I was I should go to school for this. This is an opportunity. I did a year or a semester at Camden County College for photography. And when I started taking all the classes, when I took one photography class, which was analog or whatever, film photography.
Okay.
And I was I'm a digital guy. I don't know why I'm doing this. Obviously there's a reason, but I was I already felt I was wasting my time. And then I didn't take any gen eds. So I was just that, and then some weird clay class. I'm this doesn't feel right.
Okay.
So immediately I went into working while still at school.
Okay.
I got a job at Friendly's, I think it was at the time. And I had always worked in my summers. Every summer since I was 14, I worked at Rastelli's, which is a big meat company, a very big company out of South Jersey.
Okay.
Because my dad worked there.
Okay.
So while I worked there, I was oh, this is cool. I was good at it. And 18, I'm already 4 summers in. I'm I can go there and work at Friendly's and still do school. So I was working full time at the factory, part time at the Friendly's, and then I was doing school.
Were you doing school part time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just going whenever I had a chance. I had worked my class schedule out to be able to.
Gotcha.
And immediately I was I like working more than I like going to school, so I'm just gonna work.
Right.
And from there, that's when I went full-time Friendly's, full-time meat cutting for 2 or 3 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just hustling, trying to and I was living with my parents. So I was just living the life, buying shoes.
Okay, so you wanted to support your lifestyle by having 2 jobs.
Yeah, rather than being smart with my money. I would have been set if I would have been really working. But yeah, Friendly's was cool, but I knew that there was more money in meat cutting.
Okay.
I wanted to come back to Philadelphia, so I found a job at Save-A-Lot as a manager of the meat department, and I did that for two and a half years.
Okay.
And then I again oh, this isn't enough money, let me step up. So then I went to another company out of Philadelphia, I worked at the Bruno Brothers, which was like a Italian cheese shop.
Okay.
They had a meat shop. So I actually started to manage that meat department. And that's where like the skills of management really kind of started to progress. Right now I'm a production supervisor. Okay. Basically my job, get the trucks out. You know what I mean? Like cut the orders to get the trucks out at a timely fashion. So
you got this current opportunity from your previous opportunity.
Yes.
That's
so
great.
It was kind of like they like fished me out of there, but it was my doing. Like I definitely asked for it.
Yes, always ask.
Yeah, I always try to maintain a relationship with my vendors that questions like that, like, of course I could ask. You know what I mean? Like I get cool with them, like, oh, what's up, you know, Jeff or whatever. How's this month over there? You know what I mean? Like I had probably like 3 vendors that I might have had opportunities with, but there was something about this one that I knew, like they were about to move to a new facility. Like I was like, this is perfect. Like they could start me off as soon as it opens and we'll have like a fresh start.
What is the starting salary for someone in your position?
So I looked it up earlier. A production supervisor in like Philly, South Jersey area averages about 55 grand a year. You know,
Gotcha.
Meat cutters are starting. It's a shame because I don't know if it's just this generation's a lot more scared to talk about money. But like they're just not doing it. Like they're not asking for the proper amount because it's a hard job. It takes skill. You know, it's not hype that I say that. It's an art. Like you can watch me cut and be like, wow, that's like cool. It's really an art, and I think that the generation that's coming up now that is choosing to cut meat, they're just like scared to ask for money because like meat cutter goes to like a Save a Lot now, and like they'll take $15, okay. Right. But like when I got there, I'm like, hell no, I need 40 grand like from the rip, like, and I was like 20, you know what I mean? Like no degree, no nothing. That's like great. I was trying to like push the limit because nobody in this world could really live off 40 grand. Like I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely.
Salary is like a big thing in that like in that world that needs to be changed.
When you started, what were you doing, and then how did your job transition slowly?
Oh yeah, so this is fun. So when I started at the factory, there's obviously different sections. So there's like things like ground beef where like you just make ground beef all day. There's this section called the rebox, you know, where you switch from like another company's box to our own box. And then there's like, you get to pick the orders. So that's like shipping and receiving and delivery. And then there's like the cut room where there's different machines and stuff that you could work on. So when I started, I was in the rebox room. I started there. I'll just go through it. I transitioned to shipping and receiving.
Okay.
Then I went to ground beef. And then cutting. So I worked on the trim line first.
Okay.
Trim lines is like your basic, like you're learning how to cut meat. So that's what you do first. From the trim line, you get promoted to the machine, either end. So really anybody can cut the front end. All you have to do is put it on the belt.
Okay.
But it's technically a promotion because you're working the machine, because with knowing that side, you have to know the other side. I started off from the trim line, then went to the machine. Now where the skill comes in is I was good at my job that I got transferred to the fillet table, which is like your more skilled cutters that if you're cutting to a certain weight, you know, if you're good at it, you're on there.
So what does that mean, you're good at it? What is that specifically?
So I do portion control, which I don't think I said earlier. But that basically, we cut by the weight. Okay. So if you go to a restaurant, it says 8-ounce strip steak. If I'm cutting an 8-ounce strip steak, I have to know how to cut 8 ounces the whole way down. So instead of cutting like by thickness, I'm cutting by weight. Me personally, I cut a 4-ounce out of that first piece, and then an 8-ounce out of that second piece, because the 4-ounce, nice, small, thin piece.
Right.
Put that to the side.
This is all like about gauges. It's not it's like your ink stick that you just know how to do.
I'm training 2 guys now who just started, and I'm like telling them it's like the luck of the draw. Like, but when you finally start to hit it, like it's almost impossible not to. You know, once you get it, you get it. It's almost hard to lose.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so once I went to the fillet table, I got really good at that. And the perfect thing about that was I went from that to going into working at the supermarket, where you don't have to hit those numbers because you just want the package to look nice. The good thing about doing portion control is like, yeah, I don't have to hit those weights at a supermarket, but I know in the low income areas that I was working at, people are going to be money conscious. So when I'm cutting a steak, I don't want to make that, package too much money. So I'm going to cut, 8 or 10 ounces the whole way down. That way the pack is like a pound and a half each. And it's perfect. People are cool with spending, $10 on 2 steaks rather than, 20 or 15 elsewhere.
So is that what you're doing now?
So right now I am portion control for like restaurants and casinos. So let's talk about my day. So when I start work, like I am the production supervisor. So there's a ton of paperwork that comes with it just for the government aspect of, the meat company. We are monitored by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So there's a lot of stuff. We have to have like a whole plan basically for how we conduct our business. So first thing in the morning, I walk in, I put like my coat on and stuff, and I have like 10 sheets of paperwork, just like the cleanliness of the room I have to go through. I have to temp check all the rooms. I do all the paperwork. Then I go in the like the owner's office and like the other people. I grabbed usually, so like a Monday would be like a medium-sized stack of tickets, which I'll get into in a second. Tuesdays are like a really large stack of tickets, and then Wednesdays like a smaller stack. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays are our busiest days. So say on a Monday I'll go and like I grab a decent stack. So the stack of tickets is the orders we have to complete for the day for the trucks to get out. So those tickets are numbered 1 through 5, 1 being the earliest truck, 5 being the latest truck. So I lay them out not by number, I lay them out by what type of meat they are. So I know I have to cut, flat irons, fillets, strips, ribeyes, hangers, like whatever different type of meat. I number them and I place them in like number order. So I put like the earliest number of that product to the last, and then each product. So then from there, if there's a byproduct to the one product, so say if I'm cutting fillets and I have to cut 8-ounce center cuts and I get a ticket for 8-ounce head steaks, then they'll be in the same pile.
Okay.
So
you're organizing prior to actually doing
yes,
anything.
I have to organize first. That's the only way that it'll get done. Like say we work 6 to 10, we do that, then we take like a lunch, come back, and then with that time left, it's either we're gonna do stuff to make the next day easier. So like for me, it's prepping flat irons, which is like real pain.
So what is the most enjoyable part of your job?
I like cutting. I do. For me, like if I didn't have to do any paperwork, it'd be perfect. Like if I could just stand on that block and cut all day, it'd be perfect. But I understand that, with my salary comes that I have to do the paperwork. I have to do, what's necessary.
The flip side of it was the worst part of the scenario.
It's hard when you're working for somebody and they're telling you what to do when they can't show you how to do it. Answering to someone that like has no clue. That's how it feels sometimes. You know what I mean? Like
I know you are a supervisor now. What is the next step?
So where I'm at right now, I know that there's like at this company there's probably no movement. But I'm really hoping, in the next few years, like my 5-year plan basically, I would like to open my own butcher shop.
Gotcha. I really like that you said that school wasn't for you. And I kind of want to talk more about that as to what advice would you give someone who also thinks that school isn't for them?
Don't think about what other people think. So for me, school wasn't for me, but I had like, I love my parents, but they were like, no, we want you to go to school. You know what I mean? Like my dad to this day, my dad to this day hates that I cut meat in his heart. He knows that I'm doing very good, very well financially, but still he would rather me sit in an office and collect a paycheck. Now, I don't want to do that. I like to get my hands dirty, hence why I want to open my own business. Dad, if you're watching this, I want to open my own business. I didn't tell you yet. Just don't listen to what people say,
right.
and don't be scared to have that conversation with your parents, because, and also, if you're not going to go to school, work your ass off, because that's what you're going to have to do to make it. Like, yeah, I know that, with school comes different opportunities, with a degree.
Right.
If you're not going to go to school, work your ass off and create your own opportunities.
Right.
That's my biggest thing.
If you were to turn back time and go back and change something about your career, what would you do?
I wouldn't have gone to school. I wouldn't have, got that $20,000 in debt.
In terms of talking about your career and what you've been through in the last 15 years, what do you think your greatest accomplishment is as of today?
My greatest accomplishment as a human being is my daughter. I think being a parent to me is just surpasses anything that could ever happen in my life. It's taught me so much about myself that I am so thankful that I am a father. But in my career, I think the thing you could be proud about the most, especially in a career like mine, is just that you're good at it. I know I'm easy to work with, which is very hard to find.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, I am very, very passionate about my job. I'm not gonna lie, I snap, but it's because I care so much.
Right.
I want to be able to do it good.
I think that will conclude our interview. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me,
and
man.
if you want to plug in anything, go for it.
Yeah, for sure. I am Josh Iguina. You can find me on all forms of social media. Elroy Preps in one word. I also do a podcast on MMA. You can find us on Instagram at YBE MMA Podcast, as well as all major podcast platforms. Your boy Elroy Podcast.
If you are interested in a specific career path or know someone who'd like to be interviewed, please email us at askalutely@gmail.com. That's basically absolutely without the BS.